This is the sound of publishing. Here, let's see, ready? Oh, it sounds good. Oh no, okay, gotta get that. Are you as excited as I am to tear into this package? Here's my book. I'm so close to publishing. Do I open it? Because it's like, what's in here? Is it what I expect? It's supposed to be the last copy before I click publish, which is crazy. I can't believe I'm here. But here I am. And here it is. So, shall we? Okay. Yeah, I'm not like taking a long time for dramatic effect. I'm just struggling to do this. How about you guys look first? Are you ready? I'm not gonna look. Okay, you guys look first. There it is. All right. So here's the thing. Am I excited that that book got here? Yes, I am. However, I'm not as excited as most of the videos I see out there. Generally, when somebody opens their cover, they're super emotional and it's a crazy moment for them. But it's a little bit different for me. I made a big mistake. I wanted to share my mistake with you to hopefully help keep you from making the same mistake I did. This mistake cost me a lot of time and money. Just one second. There you go. There's my mistake. Proof copy after proof copy after proof copy after proof copy. This isn't even half of it. I mean, these are kind of the different versions I ordered of my book, but there's so many more copies out there floating around that I had friends and family read. I don't even know where to begin. I guess we got to begin back at the beginning. There it is, the first copy. Wow, this takes me back. All right, so the first copy that I ordered was back in June of 2023. So this is like a year and a half ago. Yeah, this was a huge mistake. I shouldn't have ordered this. I shouldn't have spent my time working on the cover and formatting the book when I was still in the early stages of editing. I mean, I pretty much just wrote the book and then I spent a ton of time formatting it and formatting a cover. What I should have done is just taken my Word document, had some people read it. I should have spent time editing it. I should have waited until my writing was pretty much done or ready, and then I could worry about the cover and the format. Since I didn't wait, what happened was essentially I got this big tangled ball of fishing line. Once you get that big giant tangled ball of fishing line, generally what you just do is you just cut the whole thing off. This is a big, expensive, time-wasting, knotted fishing line. All the time that I should have spent just working on the book itself and working on myself as a writer and reading books on writing and publishing and formatting, instead of like doing all the stuff I should have done, I was just out there playing with this massive ball of yarn that I got tangled up. Because of this mistake, it makes getting my final book cover a little less exciting for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I still am excited. And if you want to stick around, I've got 4 things that I've learned that make me very happy for my big ball of yarn. This massive stack of books kind of makes me embarrassed and feel like a failure. I mean, this thing right here, when I look at this, this is just embarrassing to me. I mean, it looks worse than self-published. Yeah, I mean, the picture is horrible, the font is horrible, the text is awful, the formatting's awful. Whatever made me print this? I don't know. While this feels like a mistake, I'm super glad for it. I'm very thankful for this mistake because I've learned so many lessons along the way. The first lesson that I learned from this is that failure is part of the process. Thomas Edison is known for saying that he didn't fail 1,000 times in trying to make a light bulb. He learned 1,000 different ways not to make a light bulb. And this is kind of how I feel about this stack of books. They kind of feel like failures, but more than that, each time is a lesson. I learned with every new copy that I made. Stephen King, as a kid, wanted to be a writer, and he got rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter. And he didn't just look at them, throw them away, and keep writing. He actually nailed them to his wall, and he had this massive stack of rejection letters. He saw failure as like this badge of honor. I think that's kind of how I see these books. These are the hard knocks of life. I mean, I didn't go to school to be a writer. And so this is my schooling right here. This is me trying and failing. And it's a reminder of all the YouTube videos and all the people I talked to and all the books I read and all the lessons I learned from doing it wrong. If you're failing, that means you're trying and you're doing something. The worst thing you can do is nothing. So I encourage you, don't be afraid to fail. While this stack of books is embarrassing to me, it's also very satisfying. Just looking at the fact that I didn't give up, that feels amazing. The second lesson I learned was to give my best. Looking at this first copy, it's kind of embarrassing, and I can easily see that this is not my best. When I wrote this book, I was thinking I would just write it and then publish it like pretty soon after. And then looking at the year and a half later and what I produced, while it's still not perfect, I'm so much more proud of this copy than this copy. And it's because I stuck around to give my best. While this isn't perfect, I do feel that I've finally given my best with this book. Somebody once told me a story about someone in school who turned in a paper. The next day they come back to class and the teacher gives the paper back. He said, "Was that your best?" And the guy was like, "No, I guess I could probably give better." He goes back and he reworks it and he turns it back into the teacher. Then the next day comes and the teacher hands it back to him and he says, "Was that your best?" And the student was like, "Well, I mean, no, I think I can give better." And so he takes it home and he keeps working on it, editing it. The same thing happens the following day. The teacher gives it back to the student and says, "Was that your best?" And the student finally says, "Yeah, like that was my best." And then the teacher said, "All right, now I'll read it." All we can do is give our best. And so, yeah, I'm happy to say, like, I've given my all in this. And I think there comes a time when you've got to say, okay, I've done everything I can. I've got to put it out there and move on to the next project. Tip number 3 is that we need resonators. Diana Glyer wrote a book called Bandersnatch. In the book, she writes about the Inklings. So this is the writing group that was formed around C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. Diana Glyer calls this group of writers resonators. And so they would get together, they would talk about writing, they would critique each other's work, they would impact each other and help each other in their writing. Along my journey in this, I have found resonators, people that I would go to for advice. My first copy I gave to a friend of mine, and I gave it to him to take and edit and then give it back to me at a later time. What he did is he opened up the book while I'm standing there. He takes out a red pen and he just starts editing it in front of me and like crossing out lines. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I feel way too vulnerable right now. But it helped me a lot. Getting critique from friends was huge. And people that I know that love reading and writing, I encourage you to find your resonators. Find people that can read your work and give you valuable insight. If I had had more resonators early on, I might have a lot less books sitting here, people who could have helped me through this process. But I didn't have that, and so I just learned from trial and error. Going forward, I'm always looking for people to have as resonators, people to have in writing groups to talk about our work and what we've learned. And really that's kind of why I'm making these videos, because I want to help you in your journey to not make as many mistakes as I did. My last tip for you is the valuable lesson of perseverance. While this was a terribly long and hard journey, it's just a reminder that I persevered. I could have looked at this and said, wow, this is embarrassing. I never want to put this out there, and I could have just thrown it in a drawer and never let anybody see it. But while I was still embarrassed about this, and there were a bunch of formatting issues in it that I was embarrassed about, I still handed this to my friend and said, hey, will you read this and give me your thoughts? I persevered, I took the critique, and I kept applying myself to edit and to give my best. One of the main things in this book is my journey of hiking the Appalachian Trail from Georgia to Maine. The trip is 2,190 miles back in 2017 when I hiked it. I never thought I could hike that far. It took just about 5 months. But what happens when you take it step by step, mile by mile, day by day, is you can achieve so much more than you ever thought you could if you're willing to persevere. Word by word, you can write a book, and edit by edit, you can get it published. I encourage you, if you're in the pit of despair right now, you're struggling with your writing, stick with it, persevere, take a break if you need to, and then come back at it and just keep working through. But it's a long journey. It's been hard. This book took 2 years, but I've been working on other books for a lot longer than that. So to kind of wrap up this video, I want to share a quote that my friend told me one time. We can do a lot more than we think we can if we're just willing to try. That really struck me because I'm somebody who can be easily scared to try something new. Doing something like this feels like a huge feat to me, and I don't know if I could have done it without that advice. We can do so much more than we think we can if we're just willing to try. It takes failure, it takes giving our best, it takes resonators, and it takes perseverance. But if we stick with it, we can achieve a lot more than we thought we could. The final mountain on the Appalachian Trail is called Katahdin. It's up in Maine, and I never thought I would see it in person. I looked at pictures of it, I daydreamed of hiking it, but I never thought I would actually walk there myself. So when I first saw Katahdin in real life after hiking there from Georgia, 2,000 miles, my mind was blown. I felt like I was in a fairy tale. It was mythical to me. It didn't even feel like it was a real mountain. And so that's how I felt with people who have become authors. I look at them and it's like, that could never be me. I could never do that. But here I am, feel like I can see Katahdin. I see the end, and it's just such an exciting thing. So while maybe I'm not excited to have this copy necessarily, as excited as some people might be, it's still super exciting for me just to be so close to the end. And it feels like such a big accomplishment that I'm just so thankful for this journey. So while my journey to publishing this book is coming to a close, I feel like my journey in being a writer is just beginning. And I'm super excited for that journey, and I just want to invite you to join me. If you have anything you're struggling with as a writer, or KDP, navigating those challenging waters, frustrations of formatting, cover design, things like that, would love to see your struggles in the comments. And if I have any bit of advice to help you, would love to do that as well. Word by word, my friend, take your book word by word. All right, this is the end of the video. There is nothing else after this, so you may stop watching and get back to writing your book. Quit procrastinating. I'm good at that. Tolkien was a procrastinator and a perfectionist, and so that probably describes some of you. The difference is his work turned out really, really good, whereas ours just turns out probably mediocre. However, as they say, a living dog is better than a dead lion. That's all I am, just a stray pup, just trying to write books. So I didn't actually look at this, but is this cover any good? So I told you that this was going to be my final cover, but the binding's actually off a little bit. So I am probably going to have to reorder it, which is a bummer. Oh, I love it. So much better than it used to be. While I'm happy with it, man, it's still scary. Actually clicking publish and letting anybody out there read it and then critique it, that can be intimidating. But you got to show your work. You got to do it at some point. Looks great. It's a winner. See ya.